When parents come up to me and ask, what are you teaching? What they really mean is, what's the content? What I want to share with them is, what are the skills that we're teaching our students to develop in order to become successful in whatever area they want to study in life? So what are those skills? Well, when we place before them a text or a picture of a holiday or ritual, the first thing we want is for them to raise one finger. Raising one finger means I have a question. And that's the way all studies begin. How do we get kids engaged? How do we get adults interested? Well, they have to ask a question. That shows that they're curious about it. And we teach them a set of skills. 1, make connections. What kind of connections? Text to self connections. Has there been anything in your life, an event or an activity that you've done that connects you to the question that you've asked that might help you answer it? Text to text connection. Are there any other stories in the biblical canon or in movies that you've watched or television shows or other books like Harry Potter that are similar to this situation? And finally, text to world connections. Have you been watching the news, reading the news, something that happened in the world? How does that help us answer the questions? Well, now we need to use the skill of inferential thinking. Well, if that happened to me, and this sort of similar thing happened in the story, well, then maybe I can connect the dots, finding the pattern, make an inference in order to understand what an answer might be to that question. Now, if you're having a hard time coming up with a question, what we suggest that you do is you visualize in your mind. If we're reading a story, there are details in the story, but picture it in your mind and see what's missing or see what's strange about that. That will lead you to a question, and it might help you make a connection to something else that you've read or seen. Once you have asked a question and made connections and made a few inferences, it's time to summarize what you've learned and then synthesize it. And how best to synthesize? Then to make a prediction about what you think is going to happen next. Why do you think the character did this in the story? What do you think we'll do after we wave this thing during this holiday? When you predict, that is another form of inferential thinking. You're connecting the dots, seeing the bigger pattern, filling in the space, and then it's interesting. You want to read on, you want to move on and see if your prediction is correct. If it is, there's an adrenaline rush. If it's not, more curiosity. Where did I go wrong? What did I miss? What details didn't I see? Let's go back and look again. And if we develop those skills in our students, asking questions, making connections, making inferences, visualizing, predicting what's going to happen next, it doesn't matter if they're interested in science, in math, in the arts, in history, those skills are going to help them succeed wherever they want to go. The way that they think about this tradition and the texts is more amazing than anything I have ever thought of before. So how do I know when my kids, when my students have grown up to be outstanding individuals? It's when they come to me and share new insights that they've got so that I can continue to learn.